Furiosa lives with her tribe in a green oasis amidst an arid desert. One day, she and her friend go out to gather fruits. Suddenly, the girl notices strangers in the forest. She sneaks up to their motorcycles and disables one of them. However, when she moves to the next bike, the girl is spotted. Furiosa blows the whistle that her tribe uses to signal danger and starts running. However, the girl is captured, tied up, and taken away. But her signal was heard. The entire tribe rushes to her rescue, and the girl's mother, Mary, arms herself, mounts a horse, and gives chase. Mary pursues the kidnappers for a long time, eventually catching up to and killing the slowest one. She then takes his motorcycle and continues the chase. Soon, another bandit's motorcycle breaks down. Two others stop to check for pursuers. During this time, Furiosa bites through the fuel line of the motorcycle. Her captor doesn't notice this, and seeing the pursuit on the horizon, the bandits ride on. Meanwhile, Furiosa's mother finds the second bandit's motorcycle and switches to it. As evening falls, the bandits stop to check their bikes. They realize the pursuit isn't far behind. One suggests abandoning the girl, but another reminds them of their low status. Bringing the captive girl back would raise their standing in the gang. While they argue, Furiosa manages to free her legs and runs away, but the bandits notice and catch up with her. Morning comes as Mary catches up with the kidnappers. She sees them through the scope of her rifle, but shooting now is risky as they are close to the bandit camp. Nevertheless, she shoots one. The other bandit, however, has secured Furiosa to his back, making it too risky for her to shoot. The bandit rides into the camp, sparking a dispute among the biker gang members, each wanting the girl for themselves. However, her captor claims he has seen a place of abundance, causing excitement among the crowd. The bandits decide to take the girl to their leader, Dementus. Mary follows them. On the way, Furiosa manages to push her captor off the motorcycle, preventing him from revealing the oasis's location. Dementus tries to intimidate the girl, but she remains silent. The bandit then resorts to trickery, ordering her to be washed and fed, promising to send her home the next day. Meanwhile, Mary disguises herself in the clothes of the last bandit she shot and heads to Dementus's camp. Furiosa is taken to a tent where a servant cleans her up. Seeing Mary in a helmet, the servant gets scared and begs not to be harmed, promising not to raise the alarm. Mary spares her, but as soon as mother and daughter leave, the servant runs to the warriors. A chase quickly ensues following the tracks of Mary's and Furiosa's motorcycle. Realizing they can't escape together, Mary orders her daughter to ride away. As a parting gift, she gives her a peach seed and makes Furiosa promise to plant it and protect the green lands. Furiosa rides away but stops and watches as her mother fights Dementus's hordes. Mary fights bravely, but cannot overcome all of them and is captured. The girl, crying, runs to her and manages to see Dementus's men brutally executing her mother. Dementus promises to release both if the girl shows the way to the oasis, but Furiosa only cries in grief. Dementus takes the girl and locks her in a cage. She is forced to watch the bloody competitions Dementus loves to hold. He tries to appease the girl and even gives her his favorite teddy bear. Dementus's history specialist offers to teach her to read and write, suggesting she could become a historian, but she plans to escape back to the Greenlands, tattooing the path onto her arm. One day, Dementus and his horde, searching for the place of abundance, encounter a strange warrior who claims to have come from the citadel, where there is everything. Dementus decides this must be the land they seek and heads in that direction. Soon they reach the impregnable fortress guarded by the army of Immortan Joe. Dementus delivers a fiery speech, trying to rally the common people to his side. However, the citadel's leader offers to choose one of his warriors to begin the battle. Dementus's servant points to one of Immortan Joe's soldiers. The soldier takes up his weapon, says goodbye, and jumps into the midst of the biker warriors, where he detonates himself, taking many enemies with him. But Dementus cannot retreat. The battle begins. Immortan Joe's men skillfully capture Dementus's motorcycles and cars with hooked chains, lifting them into the air. They do this with Furiosa's cage as well, but the history specialist manages to latch onto the cage, and Dementus himself comes to help. They free the girl from the cage and flee. Sometime later, Dementus rebuilds his horde and plans to capture one of Immortan Joe's military bases, Gastown. First, he stops a fuel tanker headed for the town and forces his people to disguise themselves as Citadel warriors. Disguised as Joe's men, they head to the town, whose guards, at the last moment, open the gates for the suspicious convoy. Dementus's men capture Gastown and now can dictate terms to Immortan Joe. Learning of this, the Citadel leader agrees to negotiations where the bikers demand tribute in the form of supplies. Dementus's people display the head of Gastown's leader, threatening to impale it with an iron spike if Immortan Joe does not meet the bikers' demands. Realizing he cannot defeat the bikers outright, Joe agrees to consider their demands, but he notices Furiosa in the crowd. Seeing his interest, Dementus claims the girl is his daughter, but for the first time in a long while, Furiosa speaks and accuses Dementus of killing her mother. Eventually, Immortan Joe allows Dementus to rule Gastown, promising to supply the bikers with some food and water in exchange for Furiosa and the biker gang's mechanic. Angered, Dementus takes the teddy bear from the girl. Furiosa is taken to a room where Immortan Joe's women rest. On this day, one of his wives gives birth, but the child is again born a mutant. While the girl watches, one of Joe's warriors, Rictus, notices the bells in her hair. Realizing she has caught his interest, Furiosa cuts off her hair and makes a wig with the bells that night. Later, Rictus takes her to his quarters, where he examines her and finds the star tattoo on her arm leading to her home. But, fascinated by the jingling hair, he starts to stroke it. The girl twists away, leaves the wig in his hands, and escapes. Sometime later, Furiosa, who managed to trick her way into a crane operator brigade, earns praise as a fearless boy who lost his voice in one of the wars. No one can even imagine she is a girl, not a tough mute boy. Only Rictus once notices her familiar eyes, but doesn't have time to understand as construction begins on a well-armed supply truck to withstand raider attacks in the lawless wasteland. Considering the situation, the girl plans to escape, hiding a motorcycle and supplies under the main truck. Sometime later, during another trip along Fury Road to the fuel farm, the truck is attacked by marauders who left Dementus's gang. The truck's guards engage in battle, which takes place while moving. The Separatists use everything, including parachutes, to capture the vehicles. Taking advantage of this, Furiosa descends under the truck to free the motorcycle from its chains. During this time, a technician descends to replace a part of the damaged hose but falls, managing to pass Furiosa a spare part. One of the attackers approaches the truck and attaches explosives to its underside. Furiosa saves the truck and, risking her life, fixes the breakdown. The Separatists don't relent, and the driver does everything to shake off the pursuers, but they are persistent, and almost all the guards are killed. Furiosa climbs onto the truck's hood, her helmet is knocked off, and the driver, Praetorian Jack, realizes she is a girl. Furiosa climbs into the cab, and together with Jack, they fend off the remaining Separatists. In the end, all the military guards are killed, leaving only Jack in the truck, Furiosa, and a mutant who, at her command, releases spiked balls, destroying the flying vehicle, but dying himself. The girl returns to the cab and tries to kill Jack, but he throws her off the truck and leaves her on the road. However, he later returns and offers to create a new convoy with her, respecting her bravery. Furiosa becomes Jack's deputy and receives the title of Praetorian. Meanwhile, Dementus, with his inability to manage, practically destroys Gastown's infrastructure, leading to worker dissatisfaction. Realizing no better opportunity will come, Jack proposes they flee, providing Furiosa with everything needed. However, they make another trip and find chaos, which Dementus unsuccessfully tries to quell. Realizing he cannot succeed, Dementus calls a council at the Citadel and orders the truck to leave, leaving supplies behind. Learning of this, Immortan Joe becomes enraged and orders Furiosa and Jack to collect weapons and ammunition in Leadtown. That evening, Jack confesses to Furiosa that he wants to help her because he still remembers his parents. The girl shows him the star map on her arm and offers to leave with her. During their last trip, Jack orders the crew to load the tanker with everything necessary and has Furiosa drive the escort vehicle. However, when the truck arrives in Leadtown, they fall into an ambush. Jack sends a signal ordering Furiosa to flee while he leads the enemy away. But driven by revenge, the girl opens fire with a sniper rifle, trying to kill Dementus. Seeing her, the biker leader fires a grenade launcher at her. Jack, thinking she is dead, destroys the tower where Dementus is hiding. Hanging on the edge, Dementus manages to see Furiosa saving Jack from the abyss where the truck fell and driving away with him on a motorcycle. The pair reach their vehicle left outside the gates and drive off. A surviving Dementus gives chase. On the way, Furiosa tells Jack the route to the place of abundance. Meanwhile, Dementus's men catch up with them. Jack tries to stop the pursuers by firing a rifle, but their vehicle is forced off the road. Furiosa and Jack are dragged out. Enraged, Dementus orders both to be killed, but Jack must die first. Furiosa is chained and forced to watch as they torment her friend. But as evening falls, Dementus sees a hand hanging from a chain with a star map. The girl has cut off her own arm and is now riding away on a stolen motorcycle. With her last strength, she reaches the Citadel, where she is taken to Joe. The girl recounts everything that happened and helps plan the war against Dementus. Through trickery, they convince Dementus that the warriors have left the Citadel for Gastown, and the horde rushes to the fortress, where most of the bikers perish. In the meantime, Furiosa, having lost her way home, shaves her head, replaces her hand with a mechanical prosthesis, and prepares for battle. She seizes a vehicle the Praetorians prepared for pursuing Dementus and sets off alone. Meanwhile, Dementus and a few loyal followers try to flee, but Furiosa catches up with him in the desert. Dementus orders his companions to scatter in different directions to throw off the pursuer, but the girl confidently follows his tracks, killing his aides one by one. After a long chase, she finally catches Dementus in the desert. He lies down before her in submission but mocks her, saying revenge will not heal her. Furiosa chains him and reminds him of her murdered mother, but he suddenly confesses that he became this way after his wife and children were killed. He reminds her that no amount of his suffering will bring back her loved ones, and he has a very high pain threshold. Furiosa beats him, but soon realizes he is right. Revenge does not alleviate the pain of loss. When Dementus loses consciousness, she takes his teddy bear, and he finally recognizes her and proposes they join forces to conquer the wasteland. But the girl throws away the toy. Voiceover narrates that Furiosa imprisoned Dementus in the Citadel, using his living body as fertilizer to grow a peach tree from her mother's seeds. Later, she receives command of a new truck, hiding 5 of Immortan Joe's wives who want to escape from him. The new Mad Max movie is filled with fury and a thirst for revenge. It has an excess of harsh and unpleasant scenes, but it also has its philosophy, soul, and hope that even in the most unbearable conditions and the harshest trials, one can remain human and stay true to their goal.